in the style of Brené Brown, with an educational and empowering tone. We've all been there. Someone says something cruel, dismissive, or outright disrespectful, and our instinct kicks in to defend, explain, or fight back. But here's the truth. Not every battle deserves our energy, and not every insult requires a response. True strength is found not in the noise, but in the silence that follows. Staying quiet after disrespect isn't about weakness or allowing others to walk over you. It's about choosing where your power goes. Reacting emotionally often hands control over to the person who disrespected you. It fuels their behavior, giving them exactly what they wanted, a reaction. Instead, when we pause, when we hold space for ourselves instead of engaging in unnecessary conflict, we reclaim our strength. Disrespect often says more about the other person than it does about you. When someone speaks with unkindness, it's usually a reflection of their own insecurities, wounds, or struggles. But here's the challenge: are we secure enough in ourselves to recognize that and not take the bait? I want you to imagine a powerful river. It doesn't argue with the rocks in its path, it simply flows around them. When we respond with silence and grace, we do the same. We protect our peace, our dignity, and most importantly, our energy. But silence isn't about avoidance, it's about intention. It's about knowing when to speak and when to let the weight of our quietness do the talking. There is power in the pause. That moment of stillness allows us to choose our response wisely. Sometimes, silence is a boundary in itself. It tells people that we refuse to engage in disrespectful dynamics. Other times, it gives us time to craft a response that aligns with who we truly are, not just how we feel in the heat of the moment. Now, this doesn't mean we never speak up. Healthy boundaries matter. But there's a difference between defending yourself and getting dragged into unnecessary battles. We can say, I don't engage with disrespect without having to prove ourselves. Because here's the truth: dignity speaks louder than any argument ever could. So the next time someone disrespects you, take a breath. Remind yourself that your energy is valuable. Ask yourself, does this deserve my voice, or is my silence the lesson they need to hear? Because sometimes the most powerful response isn't words, it's walking away with your head held high. Would you like any refinements or additions? You said. Expand the first keynote without headings and intro of keynote up to 200 words. ChatGPT said. Silence is often misunderstood as weakness, but in reality, it is a powerful act of emotional mastery. When faced with disrespect, the natural impulse is to defend ourselves, to react immediately, to prove a point. But reacting without thought often leads to regret, wasted energy, and a loss of control over the situation. True strength lies in the ability to regulate our emotions, to pause instead of reacting impulsively, and to recognize that not every insult or act of disrespect is worth our response. Staying quiet does not mean allowing someone to mistreat us, it means choosing not to engage in a battle that does not serve us. Emotional mastery is about recognizing that our self-worth is not dependent on the opinions or behaviors of others. It is about understanding that our silence can be more powerful than words, especially when those words would only escalate conflict. When we choose quiet, we are not backing down, we are rising above. We are showing that our emotions do not control us, that we do not need validation from those who disrespect us, and that we have the strength to walk away with dignity rather than be pulled into negativity. You said. Expand the second keynote without headings and intro of keynote up to 200 words. ChatGPT said. Engaging with disrespect drains your emotional energy, often leaving you frustrated, hurt, or even angrier than before. Every reaction we give to negativity requires effort, whether it's defending ourselves, explaining our worth, or arguing against false narratives. The more we engage, the more we allow the other person's words or actions to dictate our emotions and mental state. Protecting your energy means recognizing that not every insult, rude remark, or dismissive attitude deserves your time or attention. By choosing silence, you are not surrendering, you are conserving your strength for things that truly matter. Responding to disrespect often leads to an endless cycle of back and forth arguments that serve no purpose but to escalate tension. Instead of feeding into negativity, stepping back allows you to maintain your inner peace. It creates a space where you can decide whether the situation even deserves a response. More often than not, silence itself is the most powerful response because it shows that you refuse to be pulled into unnecessary conflicts. When you protect your energy, you take control of your emotional well being, prioritizing your peace over the temporary satisfaction of reacting to someone who does not deserve your energy. You said, expand the fourth keynote without headings and intro of keynote up to 200 words. ChatGPT said, the power of pause is one of the most underrated tools in emotional intelligence. When we experience disrespect, our instinct is often to react immediately, whether it's defending ourselves, arguing back, or proving a point. But reacting in the heat of the moment rarely leads to a productive outcome. Instead, it often results in saying things we later regret, escalating the situation, or allowing someone else's negativity to control our emotions. Taking a pause gives us the chance to regain control over our response rather than letting emotions dictate our actions. Pausing allows us to assess the situation with clarity. Is this worth my energy? Does this person's opinion truly matter? Will engaging in this conflict lead to resolution, or will it only drain me? When we give ourselves a moment of silence before reacting, we create space to choose a response that aligns with our values rather than our impulses. This brief moment of reflection prevents us from being pulled into someone else's negativity. Instead of reacting emotionally, we can respond intentionally or choose not to respond at all. In that pause, we reclaim our power, proving that true strength is found in self-control, not in proving ourselves to others. You said, expand the fifth keynote without headings and intro of keynote up to 200 words. ChatGPT said, not every act of disrespect requires a battle. Sometimes the most effective response is setting firm boundaries without engaging in conflict. When someone disrespects us, our first instinct might be to argue, explain ourselves, or demand an apology. But in many cases, engaging with disrespectful behavior only fuels it. Some people thrive on drawing others into negativity, and the more we fight back, the more power we give them over our emotions. Instead of battling, we can set boundaries that make it clear what we will and will not tolerate. Boundaries are not about controlling others, they are about protecting ourselves. They allow us to walk away from unnecessary conflicts without feeling guilty or weak. A boundary can be as simple as choosing not to respond, refusing to engage in disrespectful conversations, or calmly stating, I don't tolerate being spoken to this way. The key is enforcing boundaries with consistency. When we prioritize boundaries over battles, we shift our focus from proving our worth to protecting our peace. We no longer waste energy on people who do not respect us, and instead, we invest in environments where we are valued. True power lies in knowing when to disengage and choosing peace. Silence after disrespect creates a powerful space for self-reflection, not only for you but also for the other person. When we respond immediately to rudeness or cruelty, the conversation often turns into a defensive battle, leaving no room for reflection. The other person may justify their actions or double down on their disrespect. But when we choose not to engage, we disrupt the expected cycle of conflict. The absence of a reaction forces the other person to sit with their words, sometimes making them realize the impact of their behavior in a way that an argument never could. At the same time, silence allows us to reflect on the situation with clarity. It gives us the chance to separate our emotions from the event, evaluate whether the disrespect even deserves a response, and decide how we want to move forward. Reacting impulsively can cloud our judgment, while stepping back lets us assess whether the person deserves our energy or if it's better to walk away. Choosing silence doesn't mean we ignore the issue, it means we handle it with wisdom. In that quiet moment, we regain control, allowing both ourselves and others to reflect on what truly matters. You said, give me conclusion of entire speech. ChatGPT said, in the end, staying quiet after disrespect is not about weakness or avoidance, it is about wisdom, strength, and emotional mastery. It is about understanding that not every battle deserves our energy, not every insult requires a response, and not every person who disrespects us deserves access to our emotions. When we choose silence, we are not conceding, we are choosing self-respect over meaningless conflict. Silence is a powerful teacher. It forces both us and others to reflect. It allows us to set boundaries without engaging in unnecessary fights. It reminds us that our worth is not determined by the words or actions of others but by how we choose to carry ourselves. By protecting our energy, embracing the power of pause, and choosing boundaries over battles, we reclaim control over our emotions and our peace. So, the next time disrespect finds its way to you, take a deep breath. Ask yourself if a response is truly needed or if silence itself is the strongest response you can give. Because sometimes the most powerful statement we can make is walking away with our dignity intact and our energy protected. Strength is not always in the words we speak, but in the silence we choose.